What's going on, everybody? My name is CodyT503 and this is a Just podcast. We are coming to you guys live on August 18th, 2025 for episode 112, where today we actually have the return of a very special guest. And now it is an absolute pleasure to reintroduce to you guys Draven Vargas.
What's up, y'all? Welcome. I'm glad you had me back. It's been looking forward to doing this again. So,
yeah, man, I think it's been about like a year and a half since the last time we had talked.
Something like that. It's definitely been a minute.
That is so freaking awesome, man. Well, let's just start off for all the people who maybe don't know you. Maybe you can reintroduce your name, where you're from, and maybe what you've been up to since the last time we talked.
I'm Draven Vargas. I've been wrestling for just over 22 years now. Originally from Vancouver, Washington. I've wrestled all over the Northwest. This has been my second life for most of my adult life. Well, all of my adult life. So if you want to say I'm an adult, I don't think I'm quite grown up yet, but one of these days I'll mature.
That is so funny. So I know when I was talking with Drexel, he was saying that when you're looking at the time in which you're in a pro wrestling business, at least 20 years is a good enough career. Have you felt over the last 2 years that even going beyond that is very beneficial?
I definitely feel like as long as you can be productive and you're not taking away from the in-ring just by hanging on, I feel that as long as you got something to give back to this business and that's your focus, instead of trying to squeeze the absolute life and every last drip of juice you can out of this place before you decide you're done with it, I feel like it's a good career. I don't think we've seen that. I definitely came up with a lot of guys that hung out way past when they should have just hung up their boots. And it wasn't like they were trying to give back. They were just trying to grab every last snatch of glory that they could before they just literally could not physically do it anymore. Nobody bothered to tell them that they couldn't physically do it anymore. But I feel like the last 2 years I've been able to give a lot back because I got a lot of knowledge and I'm still able to physically go in the ring. So,
okay. Well, we'll definitely have to get into you spreading some knowledge because that's something I definitely want to talk to you about. But how do you feel that this year has been? How do you feel going into the late end of 2025?
I feel like it's a really good year. I think it kind of started a little bit slow. It's kind of like like a train, when it still first starts going, the wheels are kind of spinning on the track a little bit. But I feel like once this year really caught, it's just been a good year. I've wrestling, I just wrestled my third match of the month, and I still got 2 more within just this week and a couple more throughout the month. So it's like, man, it's been a good year. I've won these bad boys earlier this year. So it's been a good year. It's been an awesome year.
That is really cool, man. So one thing I wanted to bring up to you was, I think, was it yesterday that you were part of the WCWC championship match against Hoochie Daddy?
Yeah, last night I put my WCW Elite title on the line against Hoochie Daddy, and I held up one belt. I didn't hold up the other one because, unfortunately, I lost that to Hoochie last night. He was able to get the best of me. He had a little bit of help. I don't know whether he knew he had a little bit of help last night, but I got hit with some brass knucks and then got choked out. So but up until that point, we had beaten the absolute hell out of each other. He's a heck of a competitor. He's kind of on the other end of the scale from me. I've been doing this 22 years. He's been at like a little over a year. I even used that line on him last night. I said, I've been champion for over a year. What were you doing a year ago? You were just begging for matches at that point in time. But man, he's got a good head on him. He's a hell of an athlete. Yeah. And he's good at learning. He's trying to pick up everything. He had some great mentors in the Blanchard brothers. So I think he's got a really bright future ahead of him. And I think he's going to do that title well. So
That is so awesome. So, like, how was it when you guys were kind of coordinating your match? Did you kind of give him a little bit more leniency on what he wanted to bring?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we've wrestled a few times and we both got a very similar mindset when it comes to wrestling. I mean, we're two big dudes that are just went out there and just beat the holy heck out of each other. You know, the epitome of the big meaty men slapping meat kind of, philosophy in wrestling. We went out there and we just bludgeoned each other and we just had a lot of fun, as far as I, as far as putting stuff together with him, that was pretty easy. He's just likes to listen and he follows along. So he's pretty good. And of course I want to, especially if he's going to be champion, I need to get his stuff in there and get him over and looking good too. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So can you kind of explain to people who maybe don't know? Cause like, I don't know if I've ever asked this question, but like, what does it mean when people say getting a person over?
So it's like trying to think of the best way to put it. It's like if I was going to introduce you to a girl and I'm trying to set you up on a date, I'm not going to go, "Hey, this is my friend," whatever, you figure it out. I'm going to be like, "Hey, this is my buddy. He's got a podcast. He's really cool. He's nice. He's entertaining." I'm gonna put your best foot forward for you, and that's kind of what getting somebody over is you're trying to put them on display in the best way possible. Whether that's putting their best their moves out there, putting their personality on the line, out there for everybody to show. It really depends on different things for every person. Sometimes somebody can get put over by getting the crap kicked out of them just by show. I think that's how I did it early on. I've always been able to take a beating and keep going. And I think that really is a way to get over too, is just if you're the guy who can just, is it Duracell or whatever, or whatever it was that keeps licking and keeps on ticking. That's the way I am and that's Hoochie's kind of that way too, man. He can take a beating and just keep standing there. And sometimes you'll see his eyes distant, because he's rattled, but man, he'll just keep on chugging. I mean, the guy was a former fighter, cage fighter. So, and he's a Marine. So, he's a hell of a man right there, I got to say. So if I was going to lose the belt, I'm not going to argue.
Tough as bullets, definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That is awesome. So I had noticed whenever I was scrolling through your Facebook page that you're going for the Harbor Havoc #1 contender match coming up.
Yep.
So
this coming Saturday.
So how many #1 contender matches do you think you've gone throughout your entire career?
Oh, winning and losing, I can't even tell you how many. I couldn't possibly tell you. I've had some that I weren't necessarily. They didn't say they're #1 contendership matches, but they ended up being, because whoever won that ended up being the guy that's going to go on to the title. But this is definitely, I don't know, probably in the dozens at least. I've definitely lost probably more than I've won. Same with title matches. But, well, I guess not when I was champion, but when I was going for titles. But the #1 contendership match, specifically saying that, definitely puts a lot on that match, because whoever gets that wins that match is going to go on to face the champion, and I'm really looking forward to that match. That Big Nasty Logan's another guy who's got a hell of a future ahead of him, and another big meaty man. We're just going to beat the crap out of each other, I'm sure. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's in his hometown on his birthday. And if he can beat me, he gets to be #1 contender, and I'm just not going to let that birthday wish come true for him.
Oh, that is awesome. So what do you think, like in your own thoughts and words, is what makes a prestigious title prestigious?
So a good title, honestly, what makes the title prestigious isn't necessarily the title or the belt or whatever. It's who has held that belt before and what they've done with it. Yeah. There's the classic case of sometimes in wrestling, a belt makes a man. and sometimes in wrestling, the man makes the belt. And sometimes it always takes somebody to just because you can put whatever amazing name, you can have the most incredible belt ever, but if it's only ever been on trash to be, go ahead and be mean, then it doesn't mean anything. You have to have the Ric Flair or the Hulk Hogan, back in the day, not now. But
oh, hold on 1 second, you guys. My apologies. And there you go.
Oh, weird. But I really feel like that's what I've always tried to do is if a belt comes my way, I want to leave that belt better than I got it. I want to go out there and have 4 or 5 star matches, whatever I can do. The best match I can possibly have every night. Put my name, my rubber stamp on that belt, and send it on its way to the next guy just a little bit better than I got it, and that's never anything bad against the people that have had it, because it's kind of like if something's, a ball's rolling down a hill, and that ball will keep rolling down a hill, but if every person that walks past gives it a little push and a little more push and a little more push, that ball's just going to keep going faster and faster and faster. And that's what every guy who gets the belt should do, is try to add a little extra stink on that ball, not be the guy that jumps in front of the ball and stops it. And then, but eventually there's going to be somebody who needs that belt to get over, as we've already gone over. And that's kind of good. If everybody puts their money into the big same bank, and then eventually somebody's got to cash that bank out, it's going to be good for them. They're going to have more money and interest built up in that bank to cash it out. It's like you see it on the internet now, do you want $20 or do you want me to double it and give it to the next guy? And championship belts are kind of constantly double it and give it to the next guy, double it and give it to the next guy, until eventually there's somebody who needs that money, or that prestige, and they can cash in on that, and it can take them from a good level to a whole nother level, and you really need that.
Yeah, I've also noticed, like, whenever sometimes I've talked to people that aren't professional wrestling fans, they'll kind of say that somebody winning a title in professional wrestling is, like, they don't see the risks that you guys have to take or the things you guys have to do in order to be able to become a championship level person. Can you kind of like explain that, like, is that you have to really earn it?
Oh yeah, like, as much as I think we're all grown-ups here. I think we all know that not everything in wrestling is 100%. We're not out there trying to murder each other over some metal on leather.
Yeah.
But you have to get to a certain level where a promoter feels like when they give their belt to you, not going to instantly take a crap on it. Just you having it is just going to ruin their belt. Because it's a prop, but it's also, it still means something. Even if you go to a show, like a stage show, Broadway show, or whatever, there can be an object in that play that means something to everybody in that play, and it means something to you. And that's the way wrestling belts are. Like, they're cool, they're shiny. Everybody can go buy one on the internet, but it doesn't mean unless people have told you they've earned it. And sometimes it takes a long time to earn the respect of people where they feel that you're at that level. And sometimes guys get it pretty quick. Hoochie's one of those guys. He got it pretty quick. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think he's going to handle it well. I think it means a lot to put that belt on him and really move us forward into the future. But yeah, it's something you got to earn. This business beats the heck out of your body. I'll attest to that. So you have to earn that. And it's not just being able to wrestle. It's not just being a good personality. It's all around, every aspect. Are you reliable? Are you, you get along with the boys? Because if we put the belt on somebody that everybody hates, nobody's going to work as hard for you, it's kind of a lot of different factors that feed into that, but it's a sign of respect, the respect of your peers that you've got that.
That is very interesting. Yeah, I noticed when I was looking at the Harbor Havoc #1 contender match that you were going under the Hellblazer gimmick. So, like, when did you start that whole gimmick with that promotion?
So the Hellblazer. So right now, I typically am in 2 different factions, or sometimes just solo. But for BCW, PNW, BCW, and Harbor or Rogue Wrestling Attractions, I'm part of a group called Hellbound. And with Hellbound, it's kind of like just a general heavy metal kind of, not, I wouldn't say devil worship. At least one of us is Satanist, and we all kind of are, not necessarily the most religious of people, but we've always kind of viewed it also as we're the hell guys. We're here to punish sinners, and also we're probably heading that way if it's real anyway, because we've all lived some crazy lives. But the Hellblazer kind of was like a blend of. Actually, the group was originally called the Hellblazers. That's kind of how we got it started. We were in the group chat, and Petrov and Billy Nothing, Billy Moon, Billy, all the different names he's gone under, Rat King. They were going to come up with a team. They were going to have a tag team, and they're trying to come up with the names. And I suggested Hellblazers, and Petrov's like, "Well, if it's the Hellblazers, you got to be part of it because you're one of the most known Blazer in the locker room." So that was originally the team name, and we ended up changing it to Hellbound. And then I'm like, well, that's just too cool to just leave. I'm picking that up, and I took up the moniker myself, the Hellblazer, because the fact that anybody that knows me knows that I blaze a lot, if you know what I'm saying. So it's kind of almost a blend between the two. You got the line, the high five, that my stoner side, my playful stoner side, the Hellbound's a darker, heavier, meaner side, but he still smokes weed, so it's the Hellblazer, so,
yeah.
But it's definitely the Hellblazer is generally my. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The Hellblazer is generally gonna be a little bit just more brutal. The urban legend, the Bloodline Draven is just a playful guy. This is like a little bit my darker side, but like even right now, I just kind of turn face, as they say, in PNW, BCW, and so like I'm being a little bit less of a jerk. So it's still that side that if it comes down to it, you don't want to get on the wrong side of the Hellblazer. So.
Oh, that is so interesting. I had also noticed when I was scrolling throughout your Facebook that you'll be a part of the RW Seaport Slam Fest. So, like, what kind of event is that?
Yeah. So Seaport Slam Fest is a big festival, as the name implies. Throughout the day, it's starting at like noon, I think. They're going to have Battle of the Bands. They're going to have vendors, food, drinks, all sorts of stuff like that. It's going to be a big fest. And then at night, they're going to bring out the wrestling when it starts getting dark. And I think they said that they're thinking the main event will probably go on around like 9:30. So it's a long event that night.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be whatever you go there to see, you'll get your money's worth. If you go there to see a guy get humiliated on his birthday in his own hometown, then you'll definitely get your money's worth. So,
where'd it go? Ooh. Ah, dang it. Hold on 1 second. Wait. Come on. There we go. Back on.
Yeah, I don't know where it left off, but yeah, like it's going to be a really long festival. There's going to be bands. There's going to be wrestling. There's going to be food, vendors. Oh, why do I keep losing connection? damn.
You still there?
Are we good? Okay.
Yep,
For a minute,
yep.
I thought so. I lost connection. But honestly, whatever you go there to do, you're going to get your money's worth because it's a long festival. There's going to be tons of entertainment, and most entertaining of all, the main event's going to be a guy getting his butt kicked in his hometown on his birthday and missing out on being the number one contendership for his first title. So I definitely recommend it. And they're talking about fireworks going off afterwards. I'm like, man, if I beat up a kid in his hometown on his birthday and then you shoot off fireworks, that's gonna be my WrestleMania, man. That'll be amazing. Just soaking in fireworks. And if any fires start from the fireworks, they'll have the tears of all of his neighbors and friends and family to put them out. So
That is awesome. So, like,
but it's gonna be a heck of an
event
event from everything I've heard. So.
That's awesome. So, like, how would you kind of put into your own words, like, the importance of somebody being able to main event a show? Like, what does that show to the wrestlers from the bookers?
It shows a lot of things. If you can go into a main event and still get the crowd after they've been standing and cheering and probably drinking for 2 hours, sometimes longer, then if you can still go out there and grab their interest for 20 minutes, that's saying something. Because in this modern era, everybody's got such a short attention span that getting somebody to sit down for 2 hours is hard enough. But getting them to consistently get up and actually give a crap about what's going on while these two guys in their underwear are beating each other up, that's something, man. That really shows that you understand how to wrestle, because you can't go out there and do everything that everybody else has done. Shows that you have a deeper understanding of the psychology of people. The fact that let's say everybody's done every move that they could ever possible think of all night, and these fans have seen everything. Sometimes you just got to go out there and grab a headlock or go out there and just talk. Just do anything you got to do. And the ability to do that consistently in the main event after everybody else has already performed really shows something to the powers that be, the boys in the back, the fans themselves, everybody. If you're in the main event, you've most likely earned it, or somebody feels like you have the potential to earn that. So it means a lot to be put in that position. I know I still get nervous even after all this time being put in the main event, because it's a lot. I think the most important matches on a card are the last one and the first one. Because if you put out a match in the first match and they go out there and they can't get the crowd, almost nobody's going to be able to go out there and get the crowd. They're already kind of conditioned to not want to cheer that whole night. It's super important.
That was actually going to be the next question that I asked you, was the importance of somebody being able to put on a good first match in front of a crowd. Like, how important is that for every event?
Super important. Honestly, as far as setting the stage for the night, so the main event draws people in. That's the money-making match you put out there. But it doesn't matter what happens after that first match if the crowd's dead and doesn't want to cheer. You have to go out there. You have to get their attention. Sometimes you got to dang near kill yourself. Sometimes you got to go out there and just work slow and just talk. It really depends. Again, that's that deeper psychology. But if you're being put on first, that to me should be where you have your best match. That's not a marquee match. Like, you're definitely going to have your main event and your semi-main event, which I usually put right before intermission, because that's, you want to send them off to intermission really, really jazzed up. But the first match of the card and the first match right after intermission, I think, are two of the most important, because you got to grab those people's attention. Right after intermission is right up there too, because half the time people have gotten up, they've stretched, they go, man, do I really want to sit down for another half hour, 45 minutes, hour? And that first match, if you can get them right back where they are, that's good, But that first match on the card, I think, is the most important as far as they're at that night, because the fact that if they lose the crowd's done. And I've seen it happen. I've seen guys go out there and absolutely murder themselves all night. And since the first match didn't get them, the crowd was just never into it. The crowd was like, good stuff. They pop for moves. They pop for guys almost dying, but they're not going to get into it and cheer. Whereas I've seen guys go out there and tear the absolute house down in the first match. And the rest of the card wasn't that good, but people were cheering the whole time because of the fact that they were conditioned that night to go out there and cheer, And as long as the first one gets them, you should be having a good night beyond that.
That is so interesting. Yeah, I know. I wanted to bring up to you the Cole cousins in POW Pro Wrestling. So when did you guys embark on that whole faction, and what was your guys' thoughts behind it all?
That's actually a pretty long story. I got hit up like 2 years ago, I want to say, and Mr. Ooh La La was like, "Hey man, I got this idea," and I'll be honest. At first, I was like, "Really? Like, I've been wrestling for 20 years, and you want me to do a whole different, not a different Draven, not a different version of me, a whole different thing? Like, that's weird, But that's that's definitely a big thing in wrestling lately. Is the different kind of regions. They're kind of willing to like toy around with characters, Sometimes, I've been Draven for 22 years now, and don't got a contract, so who knows? Maybe this would have been this would be the one that hit. Yeah. And at first, the way he described it to me, I'm like, whatever, I'm fine with that. And it was originally going to be just more like the uncle that kind of just was leading his nephews into battle. I wasn't actually going to be the guy in ring. And then a lot of circumstances happened throughout where it didn't work out for this guy, it didn't work out for that guy. So eventually, and honestly, the name Cooter Cole, just the minute I heard that, I'm like, okay, I'm in, whatever. That's just a goofy enough name. I got to be down for that, right? It'll be fun. So then, what is that? Probably like, closing in on a year ago, I think we finally started pulling the trigger on that, getting ready to do that. And when we started getting into it, it was kind of weird at first to get into because it's a West Virginia coal miner. I've never done either of those things. So, it was definitely a unique character to get inside of. But once I started getting into it, I really enjoyed it, and telling the backstory of the family, how the Hammer brothers' grandfather and our grandfather were down in a coal mine, and our grandpappy got crushed by the mine, and their grandpappy just hightailed it and went off and became a construction worker and started their family. I was like, this is some deep lore. There's a lot of thought put into this. I really enjoyed it. To be able to get to tell that story. I love telling stories. In ring, out of the on the mic, whatever. I love putting on a narrative and being able to tell stories, and I love the sound of my own voice, as you can tell, because I love talking. But that was really, really awesome, and how much they were putting behind it. The fact that it didn't sink into me 100% what was going on until somebody's like, "You guys are like the Cole cousins, Kane," and the Hammer brothers, Kane, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that hit home for me." And then from then on, I've just been all on board with it, and we just keep adding cousins. We're up to 4 cousins now, so it's who knows? We may eventually add more. We're just going to become this big, killer Cole family. So
that is so fascinating. I had noticed when you guys had your guys' coal miners glove match that the commentary team on POW Pro Wrestling said that there was a lot of history behind that match. Can you kind of explain that a little bit?
Well, I mean, in the story, there's a lot of the history there, but then the coal miners glove match, that thing's been around. Dutch Savage back in the old school Portland. Down in the South, it was a big match, which is why Dutch Savage brought it up here. It the coal miner's glove is a big leather glove with metal embedded into it. It was a big metal plate across the knuckles because that way you weren't constantly busting your knuckles in, as you're digging out of coal stones. So, and down in the South and then back here in Portland wrestling, where some of the bloodiest matches you'll ever see in Portland wrestling were coal miners glove matches because, I mean, they're hitting each other with a big steel plate. They're busting each other open. It's nothing to mess around with, And so, yeah, when that kind of wrote itself, it's like, we're coal miners. We have to have a coal miner's glove on a pole match. That's gotta be the place this goes.
Yeah.
And so it was a real honor. First time I've ever had one of those in my whole career. So it was a real honor to be able to, get to be a part of the Portland history that way, or Northwest history because it was in Eugene, whatever. Getting to have, be a part of that and tap into that history meant a lot to me. And I'm really proud of that match. We didn't win, but I'm still proud of it.
Yeah, that is so cool. So I know one thing I think I was talking with Hoochie Daddy about is that like it kind of takes two to tango whenever you're stepping into a pro wrestling match. So how is it for you whenever you're trying to find that timing with each one of your opponents? Like how diverse is that throughout all of your matches?
Timing is one of the most important things. It's like, taking it back to taking two to tango. If you're dancing with somebody, you gotta be able to go timing. Otherwise, you're constantly stepping on each other's toes. Somebody's trying to turn. Somebody's gonna get hurt. And in wrestling, it's the same. There's some guys you step in the ring with, and you gotta figure it out. And then sometimes you get in the ring with a guy, and you guys are just it clicks. And I've had both. And usually, as long as you work with somebody enough, your timing picks up. As a veteran, a lot of times you got to figure out the other guy's timing and work around him because they're not going to be as good about picking up their pace, lowering their pace, doing whatever they got to do. But timing is, and you don't even know, until you get in the ring how important that is because when moves link up and you're getting slammed, if timing's off, somebody's going to get really badly injured. You guys get really badly hurt because of timing. Seen guys get really badly hurt just because they were just not on the same page with their opponent. And like you said, takes two to tango, and you have to be able to work with the guy that you're in the ring with.
Yeah. So is there anybody that comes to mind that you can instantly say you just automatically had that chemistry with?
There's definitely a few guys, and I don't know if it was that they had chemistry with me or the fact that they were just so damn good I never noticed. First time I ever stepped in the ring with Quiz, it was like that. That guy's an incredible competitor. We also were both trained by Buddy Rose and Colonel De Beers, so that helped a lot too. When you come from the same background, that being able to click comes a lot easier because you're both already in the same mindset. Ricky Gibson, the first time I wrestled him, pretty sure we felt that pretty instantly that we're on the same page. Honestly, Hoochie Daddy, our timing was a little off at first, but chemistry-wise, philosophy in the ring, I think we're so on the same page that everything else can work itself out. A lot of guys, Dr. Cleaver, me and Dr. Cleaver have had absolute wars over the years. So there probably a lot more people than that, but there's a lot of people that I know that I probably felt instant chemistry with, and they're like, "Oh my God, what is wrong with this guy?" Because they were the so.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's too long of a list, I think, to probably list off everybody. And my memory's not that good either.
No, it's all good. I'm pretty sure over the last few weeks you've kind of seen this story with Karrion Kross, and he was having this one promo that he was cutting on WWE where he was saying that you need to be a good soldier. Do you kind of like understand that a little bit?
Yeah.
Like, what exactly does that mean?
Oh yeah, 100%. So a good soldier follows orders. A good soldier follows orders even when you don't agree with the orders. Is what he was saying that Goldberg told him that he needed to be a good soldier.
Yeah.
And you saw that with Karrion Kross in WWE, where he had an absolute rocket strapped to his back. He was going into the stratosphere. He was an absolute killer on NXT. And he came up and Vince is like, we're going to dress you up like a gladiator and this and that. And it didn't fit. It didn't work.
Yeah.
But Karrion Kross sucked it up and he went out and he did what he was told. He earned his paycheck and it killed him. You know, I mean, it killed him, I'm sure, personally. It killed him inside, but it killed the gimmick. You know, it really just killed the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I would say, to a certain degree, until I really got comfortable, like the Cole Cousins was kind of like being a good soldier. This is what you need. I'll do whatever you need me to do. I don't, I'm here to make your show better. Whatever you feel that takes, I'm good to go. And I definitely enjoy doing that gimmick now. I don't want anybody to think that I'm crapping on that. It was literally just hard to get into.
Yeah.
Because it was a whole different thing for me. But being a good soldier just means it doesn't matter how you feel. Just go out there and do your best at whatever I'm asking you to do. And sometimes that's losing to a guy that you don't want to lose to. Sometimes that's, just constantly doing just something you don't want to do. But you be a good soldier, you go out, you suck it up, and you do the work. And as long as you're willing to do the work, and you do your best at it, it should work. If it doesn't work and you're trying your best in the first place.
Yeah. So to kind of like parallel with that, do you kind of agree that somebody can actually be buried in the industry?
So you can be buried, but it's up to you while you're being buried to still get something out of it, You can definitely bury a guy. Generally, though, why? Why would you bury somebody, The only thing it's going to do is crap on your promotion eventually, If the fans like somebody and you're not listening, keep watching. If the fans don't like somebody and you're only keeping them around to bury them, then you're crapping on your show. There is no good point to burying somebody. Either cut them loose or, and I also draw the distinction of losing all the time doesn't mean you're getting buried.
Yeah.
Every time you're in the ring, whether you're winning or you're losing, your job is to make it the best performance you can and get over. The high five, there was like 2 years where we lost, 2 or 3 years where we lost almost every match, to the point where when we would win, me and Pat would go, we won? But we were consistently going out there. We're getting some of the biggest pops of the night, getting some of the biggest reactions, and going to the table and selling more merch. I usually sell more merch when I lose than when I win. It's a weird thing. But especially as the high five, we've always sold more merch when we got that sympathy than we do, from winning.
So is that kind of like what Cody Rhodes kind of meant about becoming undeniable? Do you hear me?
It kind of cut out for a second, but the becoming undeniable.
Yeah.
This is what you were saying. Cody Rhodes said you got to make yourself undeniable. Yeah, and that's it. If you consistently I mean, look at great example. Me and Pat went out there for years and lost, gave our best, whatever. We got so over that we're the first ever trios champion, you know? And part of that's the fact that me and Pat, for all of our careers, have pretty much been synonymous with tag team wrestling. We've held tag team titles together and with different partners everywhere we've gone. So if you want to make, that's one of those things where you're putting money into the bank of these belts. There isn't a bank account that you're starting off with these belts. So we kind of had to, I think that that we got them, and we're putting all of our tag history into those belts. You know, dozens and dozens of partners, I'm sure, between the two of us, are dozens of title reigns with probably 6 or 7 different partners each going into that belt, those belts. You know, that's going to help those mean a lot for the next guys that go on. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get those belts over, put every bit of our prestige that we have into those belts. And really, I think it's up to the performer. If you feel like you're getting there, make yourself over with the fans and do everything you can.
Yeah, very interesting. So I know I've been following Oregon Pro Wrestling School, and they seem to be getting this massive influx of people that want to come in and learn professional wrestling. Do you have any piece of advice that you would give to any up-and-coming talent?
If you're going, most thing I would say is go to Oregon Wrestling School. They have turning out. Everybody that they're turning out is good people. They're not going to let you go out in the world if you're not ready. They'll tell you some of the best places to go to get experience. They're going to tell you where to go. You know, once you're ready, they're going to try to get you into places where those guys are already at. But I mean, you got Amira that just got back from Japan. She's been, POW champion, DOA champion. You got the Aces, the Hammer Brothers. Like the list goes on and on and on. Everybody that they're putting out there is doing amazing. And I've been in the ring with a lot of them. And from their first match, they understand, they definitely always have work to do. Everybody's got work to do. But for improving, you might as well hang them up. Every match should be better than the last match. And if it's not, then you got to figure out why and try to make the next one better than the one before that, Oregon Pro Wrestling School, they'll go back and they'll watch their matches and they'll tear each other apart. That's what good friends in wrestling will do. A lot of people that don't care or don't care enough will tell you, hey man, good job. Go out there, you rocked it. All those moves are cool. People that really care and want you to be better will absolutely crap on you. You sucked. You should have done this. This is where you could have done that better, because that's what you learn from. If you are perfect, you're never going to learn. But that I felt like that's one way I've always had the advantages. I was far from perfect when I got into wrestling. So every match to me has been an opportunity to learn and grow. And I've just always tried to take those opportunities and just keep going. But anybody that's coming up, Oregon Pro Wrestling School, that's 100% the number one place I would say to go and listen.
Yeah.
Shut up and listen. You can't. It's not like the old school where you can't ask questions. But the best way you'll learn in wrestling is to shut up and listen, because people will want to help you. People want to make you better. And if you just zip it and listen, then they'll do their best for you. Yeah. So that's probably my biggest advice. And work hard.
That is so interesting.
Because there's going to be a day when you're going to be in that ring and you have absolutely nothing left in the tank. And then the end of the match comes, and you have to make it the most exciting few minutes of the match. And it doesn't matter if you got gas in the tank or not. You got to get up and go and work your ass off. And so work until you can't work no more. That's the other big one.
Yeah, very interesting. I know I've heard from other wrestlers that there will be these producers that will kind of produce or help with the match before going into an event. And there's a two-part question to this. One is how quickly do you start to think about the match that you're going to have with your next opponent? Is there like a time frame where you kind of give yourself to really be able to just think about what you want to do in the match?
That's there is no all-encompassing answer to that, because sometimes the minute I see a match announced, there's always some ideas that pop in my head. Oh, I think this would be cool. Oh, that would be cool. But when it comes to actually like putting a match together, it's different for every person, because some guys want to go out there and have a play-by-play, and so I'm one of those guys where I will walk out there without saying anything to you, and we'll figure it all out there, because I'm confident enough in my ability to listen and follow the crowd. But yeah, you generally it's different every time. That'd be my biggest thing, is the fact that sometimes you see a match and you're like, oh, I'm already picturing the whole damn match, and sometimes you're like. Sometimes I've been there. No, I'm going to be wrestling somebody that I wrestled a million times, and I can't think of anything till we get there. And I'm like, I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing. But it'll work. Worst case scenario, when we walk out there, we'll make things happen, and we'll get them eventually. There's definitely guys that will start. They'll go over stuff. They'll be texting back and forth. If I have ideas, I'll definitely shoot them past somebody, but half the time I'm like, they're just going to listen to me anyway, so it's fine. I'll just tell them later, And then half the time I forget that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So like, would you ever want to eventually in your career become a producer and be able to kind of dictate what people are going to do or give them ideas?
Oh yeah, I've actually done. I've always been the kind of guy that if I hear guys talking about something and I feel I can put my 2 cents into it and make whatever they're talking about better, I'll be like, hey, here's what I would do. Obviously, you don't got to do that, but I think this would make it better. And sometimes guys listen. Sometimes guys go, you know what? I don't want to do that, but what if? And they tweak whatever they had, But I've told quite a few promoters, I'm like, if any of the guys need help putting stuff together, I would say I'm also I've kind of got a reputation for being a good finish guy, like the end of the match. Like I'm really good at being able to put that punctuation mark at the end of that and just figuring out how to make that memorable, I feel. So I've been used in that capacity a lot of times. I've had bookers tell guys, hey, if you need some help with that, go talk to Draven. But producing, yeah, like producing, booking, any of that stuff, even just production, like video production, I think I'd probably be good at. Like, hey, this looks like they're going to be doing this match over here. Get a camera over there. You see on the Unreal, WWE Unreal, a lot of that too. You'd like, hey, this spot's coming up. Make sure you're watching that. And that takes a next level of psychology, because you're knowing what they're going to, and sometimes you may literally know, and sometimes you're like, I bet you this is what's going to happen. Like I've been able to watch matches and kind of call what they're going to do before they do it, just because of the fact that I know the guys and have enough psychology and knowledge where I can do that. But yeah, like to me, that should be the goal for all of us. If you're good enough to call a match and put together a good match, why wouldn't you go help other people make their matches better if you have that ability? I would love to agent. PNW BCW's kind of asked me to help out with some of that with some of the younger guys going forward too. just listening, telling them to tweaking things. Hey, why are you doing this at this point in time? That doesn't make sense there, but if you move it later, it's gonna kill. So that's little things that sometimes guys just don't think about because they don't know yet.
Yeah, I've noticed whenever I've watched promos that like really get over, it's the realness behind what people are saying that can really gravitate towards a crowd. Do you feel like we need more realism in these promos so that it really sticks a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, if I go out there and my entire promo is about how the sky is orange, well, I guess it is orange. All right, the sky is green. That premise, it's based on nothing, I mean, it's a bunk premise, so the crowd's not going to listen to anything else you say.
Yeah.
But if I can go out there and I can tell you, I'm a 22-year veteran, I've wrestled this guy, and lay that basis of realism at your feet, then the other things I say have a little more weight. Now, if I tell you, so if Joe Schmo off the street tells you, hey, I'm a crackhead, I'm this and that, and the sky's green, you're not going to listen to that. But if Neil deGrasse Tyson goes out there and goes, I'm a physicist, and I'm a this and I'm a that, and did you know the sky's actually green? You're going to be like, is it now? Have I just been blind my whole life? Am I, what's going on? If you can lay that realism base, if you can give a reason to these people why what you're saying is true, it really, you can say some stuff that's really out there. Laying the basis and then telling a guy you're going to tear his arm off and beat him to death with it. People go, he might do it. It's realism especially when you drop little things that people know are real, but not necessarily. It's never been mentioned in the story, in the thing. You're mentioning something that's happened in the guy's personal life. That sometimes people go, oh no, when they get in the ring, the rest of those matches may not be real, but that one's going to be real. Those guys are going to beat the heck out of each other. They mean it,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that basis in reality really helps a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always noticed that like some of the best promos, they'll go through who, what, where, when, why, and how. If you can lay that foundation down, then you can really cut a good promo. But it's adding that realness of maybe incorporating somebody's personal life or personal things that you find out in the back that really make it where, like you said, the crowd goes, oh, man.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, even on Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton battled Charlotte when Tiffany Stratton's like, at WrestleMania after this, you're going to be all alone. Just like you're already a 3-time loser. You're bringing up this woman's divorce history. It's like, whoa, oh man, oh, they're going to go beat the heck out of each other. And you can see it rattle Charlotte, and the whole crowd just kind of goes, oh crap, oh man. And, who, what, when, where, and why tells you a lot.
Yeah.
How, who, what, where, and when is all good things. Yeah. Why and how are the most important, because why are we wrestling?
Yeah.
Is it for a paycheck? Is it for gold? Is it because that I don't care? I could go out there. I would do this for free. I would do this if there was no gold on the line. I just want to get my hands on you. I want to destroy you, the person. People are like, whoa, okay. It lends a lot to it. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we going out there in our underwear and beating each other up? You gotta give them a reason and everything behind it.
That is so interesting. Well, I know earlier we were talking about the coal miners glove match. Are there any other stipulations that you really love to participate in?
Oh, I love stipulation matches of all kinds. They're Usually they come with some sort of extra pain. A lot of times it's some sort of hardcore match, tables matches. Some of the favorites I've probably been in. One time, there was a show that was all steel cage matches, but then added to that, we had a tables match, and it wasn't just to put your opponent through a table. You had to put your opponent through a table, and then that was the only time you could get a pinfall. Is after you put somebody through a table. So pinfall, submissions, none of that mattered outside of that. And at the end of that match, we went through every table they put inside the cage, and so they came to get more tables in, and we just got out of the cage and fought all over the building. And I ended up hitting a Death Valley driver off the stage through 2 tables on a guy, and won the match. And that was an awesome match. And we really didn't have to do that much because there was every table bump, adds that much more, so everybody can just kind of just let it soak for a little while, take less bumps. The craziest match I think I've ever been in was called Baptized in Blood, and it was no disqualification. Basically everything could go. I ended up getting like a dart stuck in my ass cheek. That wasn't fun. We both bled all over each other, but the main, a kiddie pool, like a plastic kiddie pool, and every corner had a bag of tacks with like 15,000 tacks in them. And those all got dumped in the pool, and then once all of those were in the pool, the first guy to get bumped into the tacks in the pool lost. And I unfortunately didn't win that one, so I got baptized in blood, and it was not a fun match, but it was also a fun match, and the crowd was just eating it up. So those are probably 2 of the craziest and most extreme ones I've been in. But there's just some great stipulations out there. Anything can be a stipulation, really. Like the dog food match back in old school, like Attitude Era. Loser has to eat, kiss my feet. Weird stuff like that. Those are kind of fun too, that add a lot without actually brutalizing each other, but kind of guy. So whatever.
That is so interesting. So I know that so this, I think it was over the last week, we had the longest ever professional wrestling match that went like 21 hours, 48 minutes, and 12 seconds. And it was all for charity. Like, what do you think about that match and it going that long? Or like, what are some of your favorite maybe charity events that you've worked for?
Every charity event's fun because like you're going out there. I mean, we're going out there for a whole different cause. Half the time we're going out there beating each other up to get paid or whatever. A lot of the charity matches, charity shows, we're going out there and we're having fun because we're there for a good cause. We're all volunteering our time most of the time, and we're just going out there to have fun. So charity matches, charity events are always awesome because you just feel better about it. You're destroying your body for a good 1 hour is for one, I don't want to watch that match because I don't got that much time or patience. I'd probably tune out after about 10. But as long as the guys can keep it entertaining, whatever, I have no idea. Stu Grayson was in that, right?
I have no idea.
I don't know who his opponent was. But that's a. Yeah, I know. I don't know who, but I'm pretty sure it was Stu Grayson from the Dark Order. That was one of the guys. I don't know the other guy, but that's a long time to keep people entertained. And where people, I'm sure there was grab a headlock and let's fall asleep for 20 minutes type stuff. The last time I've ever heard of anything like that was like back in the day, like Carnival. Back when it was, legitimate, as they say, where guys were basically working a headlock and just laying on the floors of that, just barely fighting. So I couldn't judge it without watching it, and I'm probably not going to watch it because that's way too much. Maybe I'll watch the highlights one of these days. But
yeah,
That's a long time. That is a long time. I would say to expect people to sit, but if they're already there and they know what they're there for, there's gonna be an audience for that. In wrestling, there's always going to be an audience for whatever you're doing. Bloodfest's going to have their audience. Old school grab a headlock and working on the ground's going to have their audience. Guys going to do an acrobatic acts are going to have their audience. Everything's going to have their audience. So I'm definitely sure that there is an audience for that match. I'm not part of it, but I'm going to definitely hand it to the guys doing it. I've been at shows where we're there for a day, but we're having 5, 6, 7, 8 matches, and those are exhausting. I can't imagine what it's like. I've been in the ring 35, 40 minutes. I can't imagine an hour or multiple hours what that was like. So my hat's off to the guys doing it, but man, that is a long time.
All right, man. Well, I have a couple more questions for you, and I just want to know, like, what exactly do you want to accomplish before 2025 ends?
Well, you kind of cut out there on my end. What was that last question?
Well, what are some things that you want to accomplish before 2025 ends?
Oh, I want to become so just in this month, before this month's over, I want to become the #1 contender for the RWA champion. I want to become the IPW Inclusion Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. I'm wrestling JB Moonshine on the 30th in the Last Man Standing match for the IPW Heavyweight title. I want to add a lot more gold and more. I want to have some
kind of cutting out a little bit. I apologize. Ooh, come on.
else that's a lot stronger carry my bag because I can't lift it no more.
Oh no. Here you go. Come on, you stupid thing. Sorry about that, man. They kind of cut out.
No, not a problem. I think my Wi-Fi dropped for a second.
Okay.
But by the end of this year, I want to, like, PNW, BCW, I want that promotion to just keep getting bigger and better, adding more shows. That's, we went from having almost a year hiatus with like one show to running every 2.
Okay, come on. There we go. Go ahead.
We would make that a success. Make every show I'm part of a success, and add a lot more gold to the bag. That's the big thing, right? You get paid when you win more belts. That's what they say. Yeah. I don't know if that's true. I never see a raise when I win, but I get free drinks sometimes, so that's okay. Okay. Before 2026 is over, I want to be able to just say that our 2025 is over. That I want to just say that I helped make every promotion I was part of bigger and better than it was at the end of 2024. And at the end of 2026, I'll help be able to say the same thing about that I made everything that I was part of bigger and better than I did in 2025. That's constantly grow. Watching the Northwest grow from, almost nothing when I first got in, a shadow of its former self, to where we are at now, where we're getting worldwide, all over the internet wrestling world focus, where, the internet promoter recently, so it really shows that if you can reach far and wide, that will do good things, and it will really rein in the bad things that happen too. So
yeah, that is
that's just try to draw more eyes to the Northwest. That's always the goal.
Okay, well, as just like a final question, now that you look back on your 2025 20+ year career, how much does it mean to you that you've really been able to make your mark here in the Pacific Northwest when it comes to pro wrestling?
It means so much. I grew up on my parents telling me stories of Buddy Rose, Colonel De Beers, Dutch Savage, Sandy Barr, and then being able to go out in my career and have connections to those guys, being trained by a lot of those guys, being on shows where Dutch Savage was there, just overall it's been awesome. And now having people tell me that, having adults come up to me and tell me that they've been watching me their whole life is incredible. Having people's kids now say, now my kids are watching you. I was a kid when I used to watch it. For one, it makes me feel old, but two, it shows that these people aren't going to forget me when I'm gone. Yeah. I'm so proud of the fact that I've been able to leave a legacy, and I don't think sometimes I even realize the mark I've made, because I think I undershoot myself a lot. But when I get stuff like that, where people just tell me that, and they're telling me memories that I don't remember that they've watched, and I'm like, wow, that stuck with you that long. That is what means the most to me.
Yeah.
Money, belts, all of that. The connection is what means the most to me. Being able to be a part of somebody's life that I never would have been part of otherwise. That is something that I truly cherish.
That is so freaking awesome, man. Well, I just want to thank you for actually taking time out of your day to sit down with me and just go throughout all of these questions. Like, every time, it's been absolute pleasure.
Oh, well, I'm glad to be here, and thank you for having me. And anytime you ask, it's definitely going to be a yes for me. So
I really, really appreciate that, man. Well, I hope you have a very, very good night, and I cannot wait to see you when you return to Independence.
Yeah, thank you for having me. You have a wonderful night too, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. All right.
Bye.
Well, all right, you guys. So that was Interesting's podcast interview with Draven Vargas. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, and ring that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever I upload content. Make sure to go and follow me on social media at CodyT503. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I hope you all have a